All right, I think we should get the show on the road. Our lovely speakers will join us as we go. So, good evening to everyone, and welcome to another session of Farm Spaces. My name is Gugulethu Mahlangu, and I will be your host tonight rather, whilst we speak about women. It is Women's Month, it's Women's Day, but it is Women's Month, and I thought it very appropriate for us to celebrate the women in agriculture, for us to celebrate the women in science. So, without any further ado, let our speakers introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Professor Corsten. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you do and where you're from.
Good evening, everybody, and Gugulethu. It's lovely to be on the show again. And I'm from the University of Pretoria. I'm the co-director of the Centre of Excellence Food Security, and I'm passionate about agriculture. I call myself an agriculturist, a plant pathologist. I studied at Stellenbosch University and later at Pretoria University, and I make sure that the plants remain healthy. And that's my mission in life.
Wonderful introduction there, Professor. And we really are inspired. You know, some of us really want to get into research. So Professor Corsten, everyone, is the lady to watch out for. Tamsin, please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do and, where you fit in agriculture and science.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamsin. I am a farmer and a food safety and quality consultant. I do a little bit of poultry farming, mainly layers, and then where I fit in is basically assisting clients with implementing their food safety and quality systems that is required by most retailers. Examples of that is your HACCP, your FSSC, or your Global Gap for our farms specifically. And then I'm also a co-director of a company called ATP, and we mainly focus on research and development of any product that is. We are currently focusing on the maize industry or the breakfast cereals industry, and yeah, that's where I fit in.
Thank you so much, Tamsin, for that beautiful introduction. And, a lot of people need to understand that farming includes an entire value chain that focuses on food safety. And it's very important for you guys to get acquainted with the likes of Tamsin, who can show you and teach you on how to make sure that the product that you want to sell is sellable to the fresh produce market. So thank you so much, Tamsin, for that. And then we have Ipileng all the way from Northwest. Ipileng, please introduce yourself, tell us what you do and where you fit in with agriculture and science.
Thank you so much, Gugu. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ipileng Kwadi. I'm one of the women in agriculture in the Northwest Province. I am a cattle farmer, specializing in Bonsmara cattle breed. We breed the cattle, we raise them, and we sell them. I'm one of the farmers who supply Woolworths Worth free range meat, and I also sit in one of the chairs in the Premier's office representing the youth in the Northwest Province. So I fit very well because as you go around the province facilitating, you'll see that the climate science is very important, especially to the farmers. The farmers are in the front line of the climate science. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ipileng, for that. And guys, I have to just stress that Ipileng is the lady to look out for because she is selling to one of the most elites of the elites. So we could definitely learn a thing or two from her. Thank you so much, Ipileng. And now we have our lovely speaker, Kamohelo, and I'll let her just introduce herself and tell us what she does and where she also fits in with women in agri and science.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kamohelo Bombe. I am a poultry farmer and a TV host on SABC2. I present an agricultural program on SABC2. I am also a qualified meat processor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And if you guys are living under a rock, Kamohelo is doing very big in the media industry for us female farmers. She represents us very well, and we are so honored to have her here. Without any further ado, I think let's get into it, because tonight's Farm Spaces for me is very personal. As a female in agriculture and in science, you know, I wanted us to really focus on the milestones, on our achievements, and just so that we can inspire other ladies and up and coming farmers out there, or up and coming agricultural academics out there. Professor, please maybe shed some light on some of your milestones and achievements. I know I'm putting you guys all on the like limelight here, but I really want us to speak about that and celebrate that, and also inspire young females that are on this space that it really is possible. It's very attainable for you to become a farmer. It's very attainable for you to become an academic and excel and do great things for the nation. So, Prof, over to you.
Thanks, Gugu. I think it's in each and every one of us. It's a matter of finding that little passion and knowing that you want to achieve it, and you need to map your route to whatever you want to be. And you need to make up your mind quite early in life. You need to decide, do I want to be a scientist? Do I want to be the best Bonsmara farmer in Africa? Do I want to make a difference in the world, or do I want to make a difference in my province, or do I want to go into government? What's your passion? What's your calling? You need to think about it, and every young girl needs to ask herself that question. And as parents, we're responsible to guide our children. And you know, if I must think back of my own milestones, and I must think about who actually paved the way for me getting there. You know, my mother never had, she couldn't go to university. They were too poor, and she had to go and work, but she always wanted to be a scientist. And maybe in a way, I'm living her dream. And she's very old today, and she's got Alzheimer's, so she doesn't really connect anymore, but she still has that passion for plants. So when I visit her, I take the plants because she planted the seed in me, and she pushed me to go and study. So my first milestone was really my degree, and I never thought I could get a degree, and I failed some subjects in my first year, chemistry, but I never, ever, ever gave up. I finished my BSc degree in 3 years. I then carried on and did my honors and my master's and my PhD. And then I became a professor. And now people are looking up to me and saying, but, you know, how did you get there? How's it possible? And it's possible. You must just do it a step at a time and believe in yourself and follow your dream. And you have to do it. You can't let other people do it for you. So your milestones in life is about achieving those goals, being the best scientist, if that's the route you want to go. If you want to be a farmer, then go for it and start small and plant your first crop and accept failure, because you will. I mean, in my career, I had many milestones and I had many failures, and I made many mistakes, but that's the way I learned. And it made me better and stronger, and I got up every time and I started again, and I never, ever, ever gave up. So that's my message.
Wow, thank you so much, Professor. I'm inspired, you know, because when it comes to education, I really want young girls to be focusing on education, because education opens up so many doors and so many opportunities for you. So I just wanted you to maybe also highlight and help us, you know, let's say it is my dream and passion in life to become a scientist. You know, I'm a very inquisitive person. I'm in matric or I'm in varsity. I'd like to change my degree. Where should we be looking at in terms of the opportunities that are available? Because a scientific degree is pretty broad. A BSc is very broad. So just maybe give us a few tips in terms of if I want to get into farming, which degree should I look at? Should I even pursue a master's? Is it worth it? Should I do my honors? Where do I fit in when it comes to education?
Tamsa, Guga, I'm going to tell you, it's very important to really at least do your first degree. And we are talking about a BSc or a BTech, and we do have a BSc agricultural degree. Several universities offer that degree. I believe it is the best degree in our country. It's a brilliant degree. This is a 4-year, the agricultural degree is a 4-year degree. It's a very difficult degree, but we make sure that the student who walk out of that knows about soil science, insects, economics, plant pathology, the environment. It is so important to create that enabling environment for a whole student. So I want students, young scholars and young girls in grade 10, 11, 12 already thinking of their future studies, and they have to do biology and science and maths. And I know it's tough, but you have to just grow into it, and that is the vehicle through which you will achieve your goals. And you have to do those subjects, and you have to do well in them. And if you're battling with the current COVID and lockdown, go and find someone. There's so many people now on the internet that's willing to help you and do virtual training and help you to prepare. But make sure you do well in those subjects, and then enroll and look for a nearby university just to get your first degree. And the very important question is, should I carry on? Because remember, if you have a BSc 3-year degree, you have to do honors. But if you have a 4-year agricultural degree, you can go straight into your master's. And a master's take you at least 3-4 years. And a master's degree show that you can do independent research. And that's the purpose of the master's. And a lot of people say to me, oh, I'll be overqualified. My dream is actually to go farming. It doesn't matter. It's about the thinking pattern we establish in your mind. That's why you do a master's, so that you can master anything. If you go out farming and with a master's degree, I can assure you, you will think differently. And I don't say you will be a success because you have that master's degree. All I'm saying is you're going to think differently, because it is a different world, and we live in food systems. And I just want to also say that it's not always only about the degree. You can acquire knowledge through reading, through there's many other platforms, so don't forget that. And there's so many other options today. So it's not only about the degree, it's all about the knowledge that you have to capture. And that's the secret.
Thank you so much, Professor. Wow, I'm very enlightened about that because, as a student myself, I've always wondered what good is the BSc agricultural science degree? Should I be taking it further? Is it worth it? What does it mean if I have a master's? And thank you so much for shedding some light on that. And I hope everyone else is inspired to really pursue education. It can be a course, it can be a BTech, it can be a degree, but factor in education because it is important for us to be educated, for us to change societies. So thank you so much, Prof, for highlighting that and its importance. Tamzin, I'll go over to you, and I just really want you to also share your milestones. It is Women's Month. We are celebrating women. Women have done so much for the society, and I just can't even imagine a planet without women. I also want you to shed some light on your food safety business. Because a lot of female farmers, come into the agriculture space and just want to be primary producers, but there are so many other opportunities that they can tap into. So please just shed some light on food safety and the opportunities available for us.
Thank you, Gugu. Yeah, like Prof said, just to build on that, I think one of my also my biggest milestones must be and will always be getting my degree. But before my degree, I did my diploma in food science and technology. And because it was ridden with so many setbacks and obstacles, for me, that's always, it would stand out as one of the biggest achievements, because especially finances, it's one thing to want to study, but having the financial means and backup, especially coming from, let's say, a disadvantaged background, that for me was a very, very big thing. And then I must say, yeah, starting the business is really, it's up there. Shedding some light on what I do. So basically, I'm gonna sketch a scenario. Like you said, we just want to come in running headfirst and just do and plant and harvest and provide to the market. Um, that can work. On our discussion in our spaces that we had about food safety, yes, that can work. However, um, we as the primary producer has the responsibility to produce safe food. Um, and that's where I come into the value chain, where we literally set up a food safety and quality system for our clients. We take them through all of the steps. We literally take them by the hand and guide them through the process of getting certified, implementing their food safety and quality system, and literally training the staff that's there, making them understand what food safety is, because it is a culture at the end of the day. If that culture is built and ingrained in you from the beginning and from the start, it's much easier to implement, and stay implementing it even after you've certified, or after you have done an audit, or that's that type of thing. And also, yes, you studying or having a background in either agri or food science is important. However, what I do, you can literally approach, there's a few training facilities that I know of. One that actually stands out to me as I'm thinking now is Progress Excellence. They run a program where you can do these courses. I myself I also present HACCP courses, HACCP and FSSC. But if you are looking to go into auditing and being an independent third-party auditor, you would have to do a course called Lead Auditing, and that's either in your irrespective area. If you are looking to do or broaden into the food science or the food processing aspect of it, you would have to do lead auditing, that covers your FSSC 22000 or your ISO 22000 standard in some way. There's many ways to get to a point of becoming an auditor or a consultant or a food safety consultant. But there is some courses that you would have to do and have to follow to get to that point, because you need to build up some hours of some auditing hours. You need to do some third-party audits or second-party audits. And that's basically the journey that I've taken, and that is where I'm at the moment, literally assisting clients from start to finish, getting their product into the market in a safe way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamsin, for that. And it's very encouraging for you to also highlight on the many other courses that are available. You don't have to go into one route. There are so many courses available. Women, the truth of the matter is that we need more women in agriculture. We need more women in science. Therefore, the support and training is freely available for women. So we need to be taking, grabbing these opportunities with both hands because they are there. And Tamsin, I just want to also ask you this question. As a farmer, I want to, let's say, my first entry level market. I'm growing produce. I want to sell it to the markets. Can you maybe just also explain the process so that listeners who are here understand how it works, how it works to supply to a pack house, a fresh produce pack house? What do we need? Do we need certifications? Because it's the easiest market to penetrate. So maybe just quickly explain how, as a farmer, I can supply to the markets, the city markets.
Okay, so if you are supplying to, because the city is they are seen as an informal trader. You go and basically they're the distribution point. You don't necessarily need any certification if you supply to an informal or a third party trader. That's literally that's a distribution hub. However, if you, and I always take this as an example, if you pays Woolworths, you are looking or you're required to have an established system. And from a primary perspective, that system would be for our farmers, it's either local GAP or global GAP. GAP standing or the acronym for Good Agricultural Practices. Basically, it means that you need to have record keeping. The thing that we hate the most, record keeping, especially for your spraying programs, your pesticides programs. You need to do a lot of testing, microbial as well as pesticide residues. You need to have some system in place if you are looking to get into the formal market, which is the retail market. A lot of the auditors or the clients wants you to show intent. They want you to show that I am implementing, I am in the process of implementing. So if you are in that implementing phase, in the processing, that process of implementing phase, they do recognize that, and you can do some sort of business with them. However, you get your very strict retailers like your Woolworths and your Pick n Pay that wants you to specifically be certified before you can supply to any type of market or before you can supply to their pack houses. And that is basically where you need to ask a third party auditor to come in and look at your land or and look at your space or your area, and they need to see that you have implemented your GAP requirements,
Yeah.
and basically you need to comply. You need to have passed your certification, otherwise they're not going to look at you. Which is also it's also it's a challenge, but it can be done. It can be done 100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I really just also want to, highlight now that we're actually speaking about Woolworths, we do have a speaker who is supplying to Woolworths, so maybe she can shed some light also on that. To also highlight to farmers and female farmers in the space that record keeping is a drag, but it is so important. Do yourself that favor. After your day, just have a spreadsheet and do your books. How much you've weighed, you've harvested, the waste, and do that daily. And have a system in place that shows that you're actually serious and committed to your business, because that plays into the $1 million question that every female farmer asks me. How do I get funding? Prove that your business is worth the funding, and that includes, fortunately or unfortunately, record keeping. So now we have Ipeleng Kwadi. Please share just a milestone in your career, and also tell us about supplying to Woolworths, because that's like the creme de la creme. So tell us about that, because we're really so proud of you, and we just want to know how it's done and how it can be achieved.
Thank you so much, Gugu. Look, it's so interesting to see so many young female farmers nowadays, because if you can reflect back in 2012, I was just a young little girl in the kraal, with confidence, with less confidence. Remember, in agriculture, yes, you will realize that, yes, most of the question will be based on it's a male dominated industry. How are you coping? Reality is that, my family got the farm in 2012, and having that farm, it was a huge challenge, because my dad would expect us to be at the farm, everyone, my mom, my sisters, my brothers, and myself, to be at the farm, interact with nature and stuff like that. So as a young girl, I mean, each and every young girl wants to see herself in beauty, makeup, in the TV, or in any other fields back then, unlike now. So me being myself, Ipeleng, young girl in the kraal, it was such a challenge. I did not see myself as a role model to be in future, because, I mean, looking after the cows, due to our background, the background of the society, which was disadvantaged. Most of the people, when they look at agriculture, they look at agriculture like people are dirty. They don't think of smart farmers. They think of people who have been oppressed, people who are forced to do so many things. They don't see the business opportunity. So now, back in 2012, you will see that when I saw my dad forcing everybody to be a teacher, I thought he doesn't love us. How can you force a young girl like myself to be in the farm, feeding cattle, feeding goats, feeding those animals in the farm? But actually, now when I look back, I can see that I am so privileged to be part of my family, and all the privileged things that I had back then. Now I can see that really my dad did the empire for the whole entire family. And even today, I thank him that of all the things, you chose to take everybody in board and teach us about everything. Now, it becomes a problem when we must go and attend the courses where we need to develop our skills within the farming industry. You would find that here's this little Ipeleng in the classroom with big guys, different races, and now we are highlighting the self-confidence. There's a little bit of confidence, because in the same training service, you are looking at where are the young girls, where is everyone? Papa is oppressing me. How can he send me to so many male dominated training? How am I going to cope? Because I don't see any young girls. I don't think I'm going to do it. And back when I come back from these training skills courses, especially those who were supplied by Woolworths, giving them the reflection of the day, they thought I'm going to give up. But my mom is one person who's like, look, Ipeleng, your dad, you must trust your dad. He cannot give you something that he doesn't. My dad is one person who think of the future. Then I had to adapt to building self-confidence, to attending this workshop. Then even these guys, they get used to seeing this little girl in the training courses. But as the days and as the years goes by, I started seeing young girls in the industry. I remember when I saw Nomathemba in 2015, we were in Oparo, one of those classes. And when I look at Nomathemba, I was like, okay, then here's another lady. That's how I got to know Nomathemba. Then at least I had a friend. And as the years goes on and on, then I started through the network, social medias. Then I could see that there are a lot of girls, in fact, in this industry through this social media platforms. Then you can see that, look, now it's very important that each and every woman must work very hard in self-confidence, that we need to remove this idea of saying farming it's a male dominated industry. Honestly speaking, normally when I respond to that question, I'll be telling people that, look, I'm a very young positive person with positive mind, with positive energy, and therefore every time when you ask me that person and say, Ipileng, how are you coping, I'll be telling you, I'll be focusing on all the positive guys who are building us, who are holding us with their hands and saying, we are going to be helping you guys in this industry. So yes, my journey came like that as a cattle farmer from the family farm. I attended some courses with that Woolworths offered. You know, if the most important thing when you get to the network, you must Google, check articles, do everything. You'll get more knowledge. There's a group of guys from the Agricultural Research Council who came fishing at one of our neighboring farms, and they saw myself behind a lot of cows, and they were like, "Oh, what's your name?" And then we're like, "No, let's make an appointment with you next week on Tuesday. We're gonna come to the farm and have a conversation with you." That is how my journey with the Woolworths started. This AR, through the Agricultural Research Council guys, they came to the farm, and then they took my details, and then they sent me to the other training, and they linked me to this program of emerging farmers from Woolworths. So yes, the requirements are a bit strict, because you know, when it comes to their free range cows, they are health conscious, very health conscious. So even now, I'm happy to say each and every 3 years they do renew the contract. But you must remember that, you know, most of the people, they are complaining about the market. They'll be telling you that we are really trying. We also want to supply Woolworths. How did you get in there? For me, it was very easy, because through the family background, my dad has got all those kinds of certificates. They've got all the environment certificates and supply and all those things, and we were so privileged to just go on with the courses just like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much, Ipileng. And I think it's very inspiring for up and coming farmers and female farmers to know that you can also supply to a shop of your choice. And if it's Woolworths, it's possible. You know, Ipileng is doing it, and she attended these courses. And even though us as female farmers, we face this a lot, that we are in a male-dominated space, you can feel a bit small, you know, you can feel like you don't belong, but guess what, you do belong there, and you can make it. You know, don't let the male energy make you feel like this is not your place. It is definitely your place. So I just also want to encourage people on that part. And now we also have Kamuhelo. Kamuhelo, please just share your milestone. You know, we see you all beautiful on TV, and we love your work on Living Land. But just share your milestones with us, your personal milestones. You're more than welcome to. And tell us how it is to also be managing, you know, media and also managing your poultry business, you know, because you're doing it all, girl. So please just share how it's like to just do both and excel in both.
Yeah, you know, I was just listening to Ipileng, and when I was listening to her, I was thinking, you know, there's so many things that are lacking within the agricultural space. Access to
Kamu,
information,
we're
that's
struggling
number
to
one.
hear you a bit. Your speaker, can you
Can you
just
hear me?
maybe?
Can you
Yeah,
hear me
now we
now?
can hear you better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was saying to you, when I was listening to Ipileng, I realized that, you know, there's so many things that are lacking within the agricultural space. Access to information is a huge problem. I so wish that anyone who wants to get into agriculture who doesn't know where to go for training, or who doesn't even know where to go to find this information. When you type, I want to be a poultry farmer, where do I start? They give you the whole value chain. Unfortunately, it's not. When you Google poultry farming, there's chickens, there's ducks, and whatsoever. But they don't tell you, Guti, we've got hatchery management where you hatch eggs either for layers or broilers. And then the second phase is, so from the hatchery management, you either choose to be a broiler grower or a layer grower. From there, we've got a slaughterhouse, what we call an abattoir. So I so wish that that information was there. Unfortunately, we learn as we go, and that's why I think it's very important that, you know, Google, we need this platform so that we can educate people who want to get into agriculture. Because for me, it doesn't make sense that you want to be a broiler farmer. You have this big land, you've got all the equipment, but you don't know where to start. And I always say this to young people who want to get into my space, that the first thing that you need to do before you even buy those chicks, research, number one. So you've got the equipment, you've got money to stock, you've got enough money to sustain or grow these chickens. Where is the market? That's also very important, because, you know, I always, like literally every day, get DMs. I've got 2,500 broilers. I don't have a market. These things are eating my money. Where do I go? Where do I take them? So I think before anyone starts with anything, whether you're growing or whether you are into agro-processing, the first thing that you need to do is secure that market. And more than anything else, if you really want to go into the formal market, then you need to do a research on this certification. I, for one, am not for informal market. I've got my own reasons, mainly because of all this certification and compliancy. You know, they drain, take forever. For instance, if you really want to have 10,000 layers of anything above 5,000, you need an EIA, an environmental impact assessment. Now, here's the disadvantage about that certification. So you've got a farm in Zirvecom, and then they come and do the assessment and take everything at the farm. The problem with the certification is that you pay, I think it's between 100 to 300. I'm not sure what the amount is. It can come back and say your test which is a huge problem because of it means that you lost that money. So I stayed as a small scale farmer since 2013 till now, mainly because of those things. And I've also realized that for me, this is just me, for me, the informal market works because of Usipho Straten doesn't care about certification. Usipho ufuna amaqanda, Usipho ufuna inkukhu, and it ends there. So the only thing that people would want from me would just to negotiate to say, if it's a 2 kg slaughtered, instead of me paying 5 rands, ungakwazi ukunginikeza nge-32 rand. So I think research plays a huge role in agriculture, and it is still lacking, though we still have government departments that are built. When you want to get into this industry, you go to them. So for me, for anyone who wants to get into agriculture, before you even start, these government departments are there. Every province has a department of agriculture. Every province has a department of rural development and land reform. You need to go there and consult them. Those officials are paid for you for you to get information. So if you really need to start, that's the door that you need to knock on, to say, I'm a young person, I've got so many hectares, I want to get into agriculture. Actually, my first option, I want to be a crop farmer, I want to be a pig farmer, I want to be a poultry farmer, but I don't know, where do I start? They are able to give you that information. I guess as well, I don't want to say we are lazy, we are not lazy. It's just that we don't know. We don't know about this information. You can get training for free from government. Government can pay for your training. Government can give you a startup. Government can because of course they won't, if you want to start, they won't give you 10,000 broilers as a startup. They'll actually start with 1.5 days, because that's what they did. And we also have, what people don't know is that every municipality in South Africa has an agri-park. What an agri-park is, I call it an agri-hub, where you go, they give you a 1 hectare, they give you equipment, you go and experiment and learn about agriculture, your ups and lows, you fail there, and then those the municipal managers are there to also assist you. And in that way, it's also easy for you, Google, to get funding. It's also very easy for you to get access to market because of, remember, all these municipalities also work with your Tshwane market, your City of Johannesburg market. So I say to anyone who wants to get into agriculture, maybe after doing research, if you don't get there, approach these municipalities. They've got agri-parks. Those things are ours. They are there to help us. And I mean, you know, with my journey, when I started, I used to buy eggs, chicken, and atta from farmers. And I was a reseller, and it worked for me because my market was abo kokobe granti, so nyatenga, and then month end nya collector. So you see, I was building up to the market, and it worked quite well because now I opened a shop in Bara next to the taxi rank. We sell eggs and alta. It's a wholesaler. So resellers come to the shop and they buy from us. So what the shop also does is we help farmers who are struggling with market to say, if you've got eggs and you don't have a market, just bring them to us. We buy them from you, and then we can help you with the market. So I guess in everything, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that before you start, what's important is research. Thank you, Gugu.
Thank you so much, Kamu, for that. And I think you've highlighted a very important obstacle that is in agriculture, is that the access to information is just not there. Everybody learns on the way, myself included, you know, and I think that's unfair, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of female farmers with the drive, with the passion, even the skills. But it's just like, where do I go? Where do I start? You know, and some people maybe have discouraging experiences with the government. So it's something that I really want to uplift and promote, that we need to start getting to a point where the journey to become a female farmer, the journey to become a woman in science, the journey to become a graduate and a PhD student, a PhD student and a master's student is easy, is not, riddled with so many of the challenges that you've highlighted, Kamu. And I'm glad that we're having this space and talking freely and having a conversation about the realities of being a woman in agri and in science. And now what I want to do is I want to actually open up the floor. So to our listeners who are present tonight, if you have a question for our speakers, or if you have a comment or something you'd like to share, it is Women's Month. We are celebrating women. Please request to be a speaker and fire away. So the floor is officially open. And now I just want to go to Prof. So maybe tell us about the opportunities in academia, you know, because the reality is not everyone really wants to be a farmer. Someone can want to really be a scientist and make farmers' lives much easier, you know, by being a seed manufacturer, by researching about nutrition, so many different areas in science. Maybe shed some light on that, on how we can access these opportunities, what we need to do, yeah.
Thanks, Gugu. Yes, you just said it's a journey. And let me tell you, from a food garden to an exporter, it's a journey. And I think whether you're a scientist or an agriculturist, you have to start with baby steps. You have to start small. If I must just think of Global Gap and implementing it, or if I must think, how do you get into selling your produce to Woolworths or exporting it? It's not something that you're going to acquire overnight. There's no magic recipe. There's nobody who's going to come to you and give you the magic everything. You have to start small. You know, you don't climb a mountain and day one you are right on top. You have to focus on step by step and each little hill to conquer. And being a scientist or just being a farmer or just being an ordinary citizen that loves food, we're all on this journey. It's a life journey, and it's a very important process, because if you're going to produce food, you have to think of the people who's going to consume it. You have to think healthy. You have to think hygiene, and that comes natural to women. We understand the basic principles of hygiene and sanitation, and you know, because we bring up our little babies, and we know if we feed them spoiled milk, they're going to get sick, and we don't want to have a crying baby at night. So we quickly learn these skills, and we also acquire that naturally from our mothers. So whether you're a scientist or agriculturist or just a food consumer, it's a wonderful journey. And I want to take you into the world of science and just explain to you the role we play in this journey. The work we do feed into the global thinking. So the research we do, the current research I'm doing that's being published is used by the United Nations. It's used by the FAO, which is a Food and Agriculture Organization. It's used by the World Health Organization. And they use this research that we use and that we publish, and they actually use it to develop the new standards. So I'm going to give you an example. And as a young girl, I never thought I would one day be invited by the United Nations to sit on codex commissions. I never thought that the World Health Organization will invite me to establish a world food safety system for farmers, and to use the current knowledge of research that we've developed and other scientists have developed, to use that into a practical solution for farmers. So can you imagine just being in that bigger world and the important role that you play on the ground? So it's such an amazing experience, and I want to say that everyone can be in that position. Everyone can make that global impact, yet you direct the lives of people and even the consumer, because the whole food system is not only about the production, but it's also, at the end of the day, people must enjoy their food. They must love that turkey or that pork chop or that lovely spinach that they're going to cook tonight. And kids must love it and want to eat it, and it must be healthy, and it must be nutritious, and it must be safe. And that's the responsibility we have. Whether I'm a scientist who's going to tell the new codex standard of the water standard should be this, and we actually, just for interest's sake, we are no longer going to enforce microbial testing, because you don't test good practices into a system. You have to develop a system that's fit for purpose. So what we are saying is, for a small farmer, start small, think hygiene, keep it clean, keep it neat, and build your journey to become a seller to Pick n Pay, Checkers, Woolworths, and then to export it into the international markets. And that should be your dream and your journey, and you can achieve it. And I think that's the most important point for everyone, is that if you dream big, you can achieve it, but you have to work hard and you have to be committed. It's not going to come easy. There's no magic one step quickly, now you're delivering to Woolies or now you're exporting. There's a lot to learn. And in this process, you need to make friends. You need to have a scientist on board. You have to have a good food safety expert on board. And you have to have fellow farmers that's going to share with you their journey and guide you and help you and give you tips and experience. And that's very important.
Thank you so much, Prof, for that. It was really, really encouraging. And I think that's where we need to go, guys, and especially the ladies. Let's flex with the knowledge that we have. You know, if you're a farmer, you know, an agribusiness lawyer, you know, a seed manufacturer or seed representative coming to your farm, you can call up, you know, your professor, girlfriend to come. It's just beautiful, and we all need to work together, because with education we can really go forward. And I'll now want to take it to Ipeleng. Ipeleng, just tell us, because I know you are very big on education and training, and you host a lot of these seminars to uplift women. Just tell us about that journey, and you know, how it has yielded results in your opinion, and why it's so important.
Thank you once again, Gugu. Look, I'm one person who believes in working together. collectively. I don't believe in working alone separately. In order to complete the whole value chain, we need one another. On Saturday, I was hosting a seminar, and someone asked me a question that, Ipileng, I'm a financial what, so I need to leave my job and join agriculture. So I was like, no, you know what? In agriculture, we need everyone. You can't say you are leaving your profession and you are joining agriculture. Look, each and every month we've got employees who needs to get paid, and that is your duty. You form a part of the chain. So even in the trainings as well. Look, I need those who have been accredited to come and teach those, whether it's animal production or crop production or however. I still need them to come and educate agriculture intent or leadership, however. But now, look, as I've mentioned that I want to work collectively. I want the young women or young people who are really willing to hold hands and work together to complete the value chain. Because, for an example, with our program, my family every month they sell 30 cows, and the market wants lot of it's a huge market. They want huge numbers. So we worked collectively. From my family, we take out 30 cows, and the other farmers around Breads, we are working collectively. And at the end of month, we are definitely sure that we are able to supply the market with 200 cows. So if it was only my family, we wouldn't be able to supply 200 cows each and every month. And this is the conversation that I normally raise, that, guys, look, through this WhatsApp group, we're able to network and say, I'm a pig farmer. Nomathemba is producing 30 pigs per month. Ipileng is producing 30 pigs per month, and Kamu is producing 40 pigs per month. And if we are working together, the market maybe it's requesting 300 pigs per month. Alone, you won't be able to supply. You need others so that you can form a chain and supply. And that is why I say it's really very important to work together. We've got someone who's got a very strong skill in marketing. I'm not so good in marketing. I'm not so good in being a media. However, but I know someone who has who has studied marketing, who will be able to come and join the main chain and market our values. So yeah, I believe in working collectively. And every time when I'm working with young girls, I normally say, no, competition is not taking us everywhere. Let us stop competing and saying, I'm producing this, I'm producing beautiful pigs, and yours are skinny. You need to come and tell us that, look, I've got a better strategy of raising pigs. I've realized that buying the feed doesn't work for everyone. So I can plant maize, and Tamu can plant sunflower, and others can plant other ingredients that we'll use to process our feed. And we've got Tepiso Yankees with the machines. Remember, I mean, we can't have everything, more especially in the plant or crop production. You can't have implements, you can't have the land. Those who've got the land, they don't have access to water. Those who've got water, they don't have access to the market. So if we can work together, then you know that, okay, fine, we are able to work together. We are producing feed together. We are supplying together with the chain. It's very nice. That's how commercial farmers are making it up and up and up. They will be able they are able to supply the whole continent or export there. But how I agree with Prof when she said that you need to start small, and when you start small, that's where you learn the small mistakes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ipileng. I'm very inspired by that. And everyone keeps saying the same thing, but it seems that we are not taking heed to the instructions. So I would like to reiterate what Ipileng is saying, guys. We need to work together. By working together, that is how we are able to achieve so much, because you can find that a market maybe wants 400 kgs of spinach a week. Let's say you did secure a market, good for you. But now, let's say you can't, production and operation on farming, it's high and low. Sometimes, it's winter, your growth cycle is very long. You need a farmer friend to be like, hey man, please help me out. Can I please buy from you so that I can meet this goal? If you don't and you feel like you can work alone, you can, but it's so much better to just hold hands and work together, because that's how other farmers are doing it. Let us come as females and do the very same thing. Let us support each other, let us encourage each other, and let us look out for one another's businesses. And speaking of business, I want to get to Gamu. But before I do, guys, the floor is open. I'm not seeing any questions. I'm not seeing anyone request to be a speaker. Please don't be shy. This is a very safe space for us to interact and engage, and most importantly, learn. So yes, the floor is open, guys. If I see your request, I will accept it. So speaking of business, we're really inspired by Gamu, and I want her to share her highs first. Please share your highs and then your lows about what it takes to start a farming business, and how you made it, and the challenges that you've faced, and also some few tricks and tips here and there.
Yeah. I think what it takes to start in agribusiness is proper training. I mean, when I started in 2013, like I said, I used to buy from farmers.
Sorry, your mic is a bit low. If you can.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Perfect. Thanks.
Gugu?
Yes,
Yeah?
we can hear you.
Yeah, so I was saying to you that, I mean, what it takes for you to start in the agribusiness is that you need proper planning. So you research and all of that. I was very, 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 very excited when I started. One, I was renting a chicken house, not the whole farm, a chicken house in Virwegom for like 4.5 every month. The way I was so excited, I thought that was just cheap for me. But I'm only realizing now, for a year, in 20.
Hello, Gamu. Okay, guys, I feel like we've lost Gamu there. Unless you guys can hear her and I can't.
Our connection is definitely
All right, I
lost.
think. Okay, thank you so much, Tamsin. So, Tamsin, let's also get to you. As a female business entrepreneur, a lot of females really want, they look up to Bokamu, they look up to Ipeleng, and they really want to, be farmers. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to work. The passion is there. It's just like we were speaking now about the challenges that we face, a bit of insecurity because we are entering a male dominated space, lack of resources, lack of training and skills, lack of information. So maybe share how we as farmers can penetrate the space and be a success out of it. Because what I want the ladies especially to take out of this farm space talk with women in agri is motivation. Knowing that after this, what I need to do is I need to go there, I need to do this, I need to look after that. And obviously, we won't cover everything in the short amount of time, but at least something that someone can take home with and be like, I can also be a farmer. Most importantly, farming is a business. So I can also be a farming entrepreneur. And I see we do have a question, Tamsin. So let's just also take this question first, and then after that, please do answer my question. We have Mzamo on the line. Hi, Mzamo. Mzamo, are you with us? All right, I think it's technical difficulties. But guys, the floor is open. I'm going to open it up for 10 minutes. If there are no questions, we will end the session. But before we do that, Tamsin, please answer my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gugu. I think what has come out of all of the speakers is basically you need to do research. That's the backbone of starting, or before you can start anything, you need to do research. In science, you need to have an hypothesis. When you start your research and you set out to prove this hypothesis. So you will need to start with research. which is it's we all have smartphones nowadays. You can literally type in let's say broiler farming, and it will bring up a lot of information. We can be overwhelming, but also at least you know that the information is available and it is out there. One of the big things that I've also discovered in my short stint as a farmer is liaising with different farmers or liaising with industry people that's already in the industry. um, what works for them might not work for me, but at least I can look out for specific things. Just to make an example, we had a very cold period in July, and in July, or in that cold period, your layers don't want to lay. um, because I've been in the industry for such a short period. That was something that I had to learn and learn quickly, and also how to then get to a point where, okay, this is what I can do to increase my temperature of my coop, or I need to insulate, or there's specific, or there's different things that works for different farmers, different strokes for different folks. But the thing is, at the end of the day, is there's a common goal. And I like what Ipeleng said is, if there's always enough market for everybody. There is literally, that's the one thing that I've learned, is there is a piece for everyone. There doesn't need to be any competition. I mean, I'm in the West Rand. There's quite a few layer farmers, but we are all making our own piece. We are literally, everyone is getting a piece of the pie. You have your Bartlett, which is your bigger supplier that supplies to your retailers, but you also have a lot of informal farmers that is supplying to your everyday people in the township, or in towns, or wherever. So there is enough market for everybody. um, I think the best thing is literally, we have this thing where we call it the buddy program, where you team up with someone, or you will go and with someone, with a CEO, or with an owner of a business for a day, and you basically learn the ropes of what makes that business tick. Or you have programs like you take a girl child to work, that type of thing. And I think is the current farmers needs to plow back into the younger generation coming up, because we don't necessarily have um, or for me, I didn't have a farming role model that I could look up to growing up. But I'm sure there's a lot of girls currently looking at a Ipeleng or Kamo, or looking at Prof and being like, I would like to, or I aspire to be um, um, like them when I grow up, or one day. And I think it's such an important thing to get into, to get it into on a primary school level, or on a secondary school level, where we can actually empower not just girls but boys as well, with the knowledge um, as to what it takes to become a farmer, or what it takes to become a reseller, for that matter, or any person in the value chain. There's endless opportunities, and there's space for everyone in the value chain. But like Kamo mentioned, there is not a lot of information that is available to people, that so it, and her example was, if you type in poultry farming, it will bring up a lot of things. But I am 100% sure that there is certain individuals like your Kamos and your Ipelengs, that are more than open to discuss and to sit down with young kids or with younger farmers to guide them, and to show them that there is more than one way to skin a cat. You can get to Brits using the N1, or you can use the, what's the other route, I'm not sure, but you can get to your end goal using more than one route. And I think that is where we as farmers, we need to come in and just pass on that knowledge to the next generation coming in. Thank you, Gugu.
Thank you so much, Tamsin, for that. And I love the fact that we are touching on very important key factors here. And, I also want to just add on how if you are a female entering the agricultural space or the agricultural science route, you are 80% more likely to get funding. That's how much the sector needs women. So if you are passionate, if you get your record book done, if you are venturing into smart agriculture or technology, that is like a guaranteed funding for you, because you are securing, you are giving something that has a less risk. So people are most likely to fund you. Investors are most likely to fund you because they know that they'll get an ROI. So this is free information. I know a woman went to she was a student, and she went to the embassy, I think it's the France embassy, and she found out that they were looking for female farmers who own land. If they would like to get into smart agriculture, they were going to fund them. All they had to do was get like a prototype. So it's this type of information that is there. And you guys, if you're serious about agriculture, you need to start researching. As Tamsin say, research is very, very important. So I'm going to open up the floor for the last time. I see we are over time, but I really want to also get Ipileng's and Gamo's opinion before we give it a close. Gamo, before you got disconnected, you were telling us about how you started your agribusiness to where it is today, and just the tips and the tricks that you can just share with us very quickly.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I was saying, I was so excited that I lost a lot of money due to, research and lack of training and all of that. But so I was demotivated because I didn't even have a farmer friend, that I stopped for a good 2 years until I saw an ad on a newspaper that the former mayor at that time, Parks Dawu, was launching an agri park for women and young people. So, like I said, an agri park is sort of like an agri hub, I then decided to write an email to them, then went to an interview, did a presentation, to say, if they give me this 1 hectare, how am I going to utilize it? Because that's very important, and then I got that 1 hectare. The only problem with that agri park is that time it was next to a squatter camp. They moved to the squatter camp, so it was next to a squatter camp, and they used to break into my farm. Then I got bankrupt, so I had to stop again. But in me stopping, I was still a middleman, so I will still sell eggs and chickens. Then wrote to the minister's office and said to them, I am a young farmer, I'm black, this is my experience, this is what I've done, I want to go commercial. And then they said to me, okay, this is what's required for you. We're going to put you to the database. And then currently we've got vandalized farms. Are you willing to get to work on a vandalized farm? And then I said to them, what does vandalized mean? And they said, it doesn't have water, it doesn't have electricity, it's just bushy. So you just need to clean everything and start all over. Remember, I'm desperate and I'm passionate about this thing. I said, no, Minister, it's fine, I can do it. And I did the presentation, failed 3 times. It's hectic there. Like, it's hectic. They ask you questions, you answer them, and they say, it doesn't work like this. Like, no, but I've tried it. It works. They're like, no. According to the books, it doesn't work like that. So remember as well, with the experience that you have, because of they've got all these degrees and all of that. But eventually I got 21 hectares, finally in Pretoria. They're just busy with my lease. So what I want to do with this 21 hectares, Gugu, is to build an agri academy. So with the Agri Academy, we're not going to only focus on primary agriculture, because we realize that agriculture, they're all thinking growing. So I want to do the whole value chain. So if you come to Kamogelo Farming Academy, we teach you from the hatchery to, broilers, layers, day olds, to abattoir, which is slaughtering, to processing, to making products out of chickens, so that Maupuma is going to know what you want. You've got all the knowledge. I think, what I've learned in this journey is that really, for me, it's research more than anything else. And again, in order for you to really be successful within this space, it's just you need to mistakes. That's how we learn. So I've opened a shop now. I know, like I said before, and I don't believe in the formal market. It doesn't work for me because of, like I said, all these certification and all of that. I don't see myself there. It's not even on my list. I'm happy working with the informal market, and that's where my brand is going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamu. And a lot of people really need to understand this, that the informal market is a market in itself.
Yes.
Don't get discouraged, or don't undermine the fact that we're calling it informal.
Yeah.
It's a market itself, and that's where you
But
set your own
can I
prices.
say this before I go? Because I've got another interview at half past 7. So the disadvantage in the informal market, if you go to any financial institution and say to them, I need 20 million, I want to go commercial, the first thing that they want off-take agreements. Off-take agreement, they don't recognize informal market. So the informal market that I'm talking about is Stratton. The advantage here, formal market, is that when you say to the DTI or NYDA, I've got an off-take with Woolies, I've got an off-take with Pick n Pay, definitely they'll give you. So, both of them have, even with informal market, in a disadvantage, but I know how to maneuver around it, and it works for me.
Thank you so much, Gamu. And before you leave, where can we find you? If you want to follow you, ask you questions.
Yeah. So on Instagram at Kamu Bombe, Twitter Kamu Bombe. I'm on SABC2 every Saturday at 1:30. We profile young Black farmers who are doing well within the agricultural space, be it primary or agro processing. So yeah, that's where they can catch me.
Thank you so much, Gamu.
Thank you, everyone.
I really appreciate you.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Okay, Gamu's talking about something that really I wish we had more time, because it's very, very important that we touch on market access. We touch on the opportunities that are there for females and where they need to go. But it's okay, Farm Spaces is here, and we'll have more of this next time. Maybe we can speak more about the market access. But Ipileng, I want to go to you, and this will be my second last question to, I see it's Tamzin and Ipileng, before we close it. So, because I don't see any questions, guys. So I take it that everyone doesn't have any questions, which is okay. Ipileng, I wanted to ask you about your plans for the next 10 years. Where do you see yourself?
Look, I've always had a plan of supplying in African continent because there are a lot of opportunities out there. Look, Africa has potential, but one thing that I've realized, Gugu, is that women have power, the youth have got power, and people are so relaxed. They'll be going on Twitter every day looking at other people posting their successes. And another thing is that, normally on social medias, we post only the positive sides, or we post the final products. Look, yesterday I was processing feed for the cattle, and I decided to post the final product. I was mixing the protein leak, lucerne, and the grass for the cows. And I've realized that, oh my gosh, it's Sunday. People are so beautiful. And I've got a lot of dust on my clothes. I can't post this picture. We are hiding all those hard times. We put them behind. But the reality is that we need to sit down as women as young people. I'm really tired of saying, I'm Ipileng, I'm representing the Northwest Province in Premier's office. Where are other provinces? Why should we only have this initiative of youth in agriculture only in Northwest? What about other provinces? Why should you always listen to Ipileng saying that she's representing the youth? I'm only doing the best for the province, and I'm really fighting for our province. Why are other provinces? If we can stick together as young people, as the youth of this country, we can go far. People will be commenting on our post that your MEC is doing the best. She is really looking up. We definitely go to the office and says, Mamohono, we need 1, 2, 3. So I think it's about other provinces as well. They come and say, Northwest Office of the Premier, Ipileng, how did you manage to do your program? How do you do 1, 2, 3? And then sometimes we become national. We have young people who are representing the young farmers from other provinces. Because look, from the Premier's offices, we are really trying hard to go out there to young farmers, even those who cannot access the social medias, those who are in the villages. There are a lot of people who are not on social media, who are doing well, who are producing, who don't have time to be on social medias. What about those people? How are we going to access those people? We need active young people like you guys. We know each other. We go out there, we basically that means we will be solving our own provinces in South Africa, and therefore after we'll be able to stand up with confidence and say, now we are going in Africa, we are holding hands as African countries, Zimbabwe, Botswana and others. Now we are holding hands, we are forming a value chain with other African countries. Now we are talking about networking, now we are trading. We don't have to relax and say I'm producing 30 cows and I'm happy about that. No, we need to exchange, we need to learn, we need to network with other countries and say how, because look, Africa has got potential. If there's something that I know, all these researchers will show you that most of the raw products, they have been done in Africa. So why should we always be on the primary side of Africa? And I've realized that, look, our government now, I don't believe in sitting there and complaining about our government. If you can look at our offices, you'll find that our extension officers, they are too relaxed. And even if I can advise you that, look guys, just go to the office, they are going to help you because you want to be a farmer. They want the women, we know those criteria. They want the women, young women. You must be disabled. There must be someone disabled. Why should they want those criteria? Why? What for? And the next thing on those applications for the fundings, they'll be wanting the bank statements. What about those people who are on the streets, who are passionate, who are working every day? Imagine if you are selling those cabbages and on the streets. When exactly are you going to put that money in the bank? Because next week you'll be looking for the fertilizers to fertilize your garden. When is the time to put the money in the bank? Because you need to start somewhere. They must come and help you on board so that you can be able with confidence. Look, how many of us are having the bank statement for their businesses? Because even if you can have a bank statement, if it's not working, it's not working. They will want the record. They will ask for those requirements that they know that it's only Buipileng and others who are having those things. And unfortunately, we are not funded as well. They want young black female farmers to be funded, but we have never funded. That is why I'm telling you that it's upon us women, it's upon us youth to hold hands together and say, look, otherwise we'll be destroying we will be destroying our continent, we'll be destroying our own future. I mean, other people confidently they'll be saying, "Aye, Bu Ipileng, they are talking because they've just inherited the farms of their fathers." Look, it's not easy. At some point, I ventured out and leased my own farm. I wanted to go for organic vegetables. It was not easy. It was not easy because I couldn't access the water rights. I couldn't access those certificates that my father has. I couldn't even comply with the tax and all those things because at the end of the month, the employees wants to be paid. I can't. I ended up having to go back to the family farm and operate at the family farm. And it's not just you'd think of all those other people who really want to be in the agriculture, who are starting. How are they going to start farming? Because farming is about money. It needs a lot of money. You need money. You need to have water. You need to have land. Do you have those things? Are you going to have all of those things to start in farming? So really, it's upon us as young people to work together and see how we are fixing our own provinces, our offices. From the premier's office, we must have different programs that will empower upcoming people who want to go into farming. Someone doesn't have any idea, but because the fact that she can see that Ukamu is posing with a goat in the morning, she thinks that she can leave the job and join the industry. It's really hard. It's really tough, because what if you invest your last 20,000? You are a breadwinner. Who's going to look after the family if you leave your job? There's nobody. So this thing has to start with the government. The government needs to work for us. And unfortunately, with us in the northwest, I told you I'm that confident person who just go to the office of the premier and say, I'm Ipileng, I'm from Breads, and I want us to start this program so that we can help young farmers. There's nobody who's going to come with those programs. It's only you guys who have to come with those initiatives. It's upon us and say, MEC, we are hosting an event in Potchefstroom. We want you to come. The MEC is so busy. He's not going to make some programs for you, for farming programs. She or he is not. They are so busy, those people. They are politicians. They are doing their own things. So you, unfortunately, you'll be struggling. You farmers down there, you'll be struggling because you'll be waiting for the fundings and say, there's going to be a funding. No, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, and if you look at the agriculture, it's broad. Most of us, we are focusing on agro processing, the secondary and tertiary, and more primary of us. What about the game side? What about the game farming? There are a lot of animals. There are a lot of animals in games. Who's going to learn about those animals? Who's going to look after those animals? Even if you can see in South Africa, you go in Africa. I mean, where are young people in the game industry? Are we only going to the game when we are going to hunt and take pictures of the impalas and springboks? We need to, you see, next year, I want to see young, beautiful girls in the game farms. I want to see them talking about game animals, breeding game animals, looking after those animals, and talking another language of game animals, because we cannot all be in livestock and crops. There are a lot of opportunities within the industry that we need to circulate among us and learn about them. So not from my side, Ipileng, I specifically urge people to come and work together and with our officers. The youth of 1976, those people, they have done for us. It's upon us to take over from where they left, that really we are fixing our our continent. Thank you so much. If there's any question, I'll take them.
Wow, thank you, Ipileng. Thank you so much for encouraging us. I'm very inspired. I'm ready to take on the world, honestly. And I love the fact that you touched on the diversity of farming. There's game farming, there's hydroponics, there's aquaponics, there's rabbit farming. There's so many different types of farming. It's not always about, your commodity crops. So I urge also us as young females, us as the youth, to broaden our minds when it comes to where we fit in, because the opportunities, as Ipileng has said, are endless. And it's up to us. As Kamu said, that the Department of Agriculture has the extension officers. They are paid to be there for us. Let us use them. Let us implement solutions to our problems. We're forever complaining about funding. We're forever complaining about production inputs. So it is really up to us to push the government towards a solution, and not always expect to be spoon-fed. So Ipileng is a prime example of what it takes to go after something and do it and be successful, because if you check out her page, she really is doing it, and she's doing so well. Thank you so much, Ipileng. And I see that there are no questions. So in closing, I'm going to ask Tamsin the same question, Tamsin. You're a female in science, and I love the fact that you are focusing on food safety, because like I told you guys, if you want to start a business, you cannot just primarily be focused on, you know, growing something and taking it to whoever will buy it. You know, you need to have a sense of growing. And if you want to grow, you need to be compliant. You need to show that you're a business, and you need to have certifications to be taken seriously. If you want to now start providing for different pack houses, for Pick and Pay, that is usually the goal. You know, we want to supply to retail. We want people to know our brand. So you need to be compliant, and Tamsin is doing very well in that sector when it comes to food security. So Tamsin, just to end it off with a bang with you, please just tell us more about how we can, you know, get into food safety or get into other different types of compliances, and also what your 10-year plan looks like, and where we can also find you and access you.
Thank you, Gugu. I'll start with what my 10-year plan is. I basically would like to help as many, for the lack of a better word, informal farmers or emerging farmers implement food safety and quality in their operations. Because if you are compliant, your market opens up a little bit. It opens, not even a little bit, it opens up a lot, a lot, a lot. And for me, that is why I started my business, is to equip farmers with the knowledge from the get-go as to what you need to become not necessarily a commercial farmer, but a certified farmer. And the more we take up that space, the more black farmers you get into that space, the better. Because you will, as you drive, I'm in the West Rand, as you drive, you see all of these beautiful farms, but none of them are actually occupied by a black farmer. So for me, it's very important to empower the next group of emerging farmers with the knowledge as to how you can implement your food safety and quality systems. And then your second question, it is really like Prof said, it's not an overnight thing. It's a process, but the sooner you start, the better. If you start implementing your let's for instance say your global gap, you start taking records from the beginning, from when you start your crop. You note as to what your variety is that you're actually putting in the ground. You're doing soil tests. Whenever there is whenever you change season, you do, or you, whenever you spray, you take note of your spraying program and the concentration in which you are spraying in. That is the type of things that we need to ingrain into farmers, as to when you start, take note of the nitty-gritty part and the part that you actually really don't want to do. That ends up being the most important part. So it is a process. It's a tedious process. However, if you implement it and if you create that culture in your workers, and if you instill that culture into your workers of working safe the first time, washing your hands before you touch the crops, doing the small things effectively over a period becomes second nature. I mean, COVID now has forced us to wash our hands. So it isn't, if you have those if you engrave those small cultural things into your workers, it's so much easier. And also you can find me on Twitter. My handle is TAMZ14. And then on Instagram is Tamsin Davids. Facebook is also Tamsin Davids. And then my business, Crystal Consulting, has its own Instagram page. But if you need anything, DM me. I'm available. We can set up a meeting. We can have a Zoom call. I am more than open to help anyone because I know of the doors that it can open when you actually become a certified farmer. And the doors and the market, it opens for you to actually step into that market as a young farmer, regardless if you're a woman or if you're male. It just opens so much doors, and it opens your thinking as well, as to providing safe food into the industry. Thank you so much, Gugu.
Thank you so much, Tamsin, for that. And I think that's something that you've highlighted over and over again. And I really hope the listeners took heed to that. When you want to grow as a farmer, you're gonna need to be compliant, and in order to do that, Tamsin is here to help you with the documents. It's a tedious process, but once you get it right, like she said, it will become second nature, and then you could also be like Ipileng and supply to Woolworths, for instance. So yeah, I think this brings us to a close. I do not see any speakers. But I just want to say thank you to our speakers. I know Kamu had to go, and Prof as well. She said that she just wants to thank everybody for listening, and she is from the University of Pretoria. So if you want to get a hold of her, you can send her an email. And if you want to get Tamsin or Ipileng, they are on Twitter. They are willing to assist you where they can. So I just wanted to thank you, ladies. Today is your day, and I hope you're getting spoiled. I hope you're getting pampered, because you ladies are so amazing and you inspire us every day. So I just want to say thank you, and to everyone who's joined us, thank you so much for coming to another episode of Farm Spaces in collaboration with Food for Nancy. And that is it that's it from me, actually. So good night, everyone. Thank you so much, speakers.
Good night.